Hi, my name is Tim Fisher, and I want to talk to you about the federal judiciary. And I know you're thinking, why would I care about who gets appointed to the federal judiciary? Why would I care who is and isn't a judge? Well, you should ask current U.S. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell why he's dedicated the last 10 years to ensuring that Republicans are the only ones who are in charge of court appointments in the United States. McConnell doesn't even care if the justices are qualified, just as long as they believe what he believes, or as he said it, quote, I don't think there should be a litmus test for judges no matter who the president is, end quote. That's from a This Week article in 2017. Judges in the federal system make determinations of fact based on the law and their interpretation of the law in precedent. And as an aspiring lawyer, I have spent the last 5 years lobbying on behalf of people like me who want to change the federal judiciary to bring it into the future, but more importantly, to save it from itself. And some changes that we have wanted to make to fix the fact that the justice system is currently filled with ideological hacks are to double the size of the federal judiciary, to establish term limits, and to increase the size of the Supreme Court from the current 9 justices to 13 justices. And I know this can seem kind of convoluted, but bear with me and I'll explain myself a little bit better. Article 3 of the United States Constitution establishes courts, and it says, quote, the judicial power of the U.S. shall be vested in one Supreme Court and in such inferior courts as established by law, and the justices shall hold their offices during good behavior. And it continues on, but what it means in chief is that these justices are appointed for life. Now, there are 870 Article 3 judgeships in the United States, and they don't pay a lot compared to private service. And so as a result, you don't get the most qualified or experienced litigators. So many of the judges that are being appointed are young and inexperienced and ideological. For example, Donald Trump in the last 4 years has appointed 229 Article 3 judges, including 3 Supreme Court justices. He's stocked these people who are rated as unqualified by the American Bar Association for what they believe and not what they are capable of doing, what their body of work shows. And a way of diluting the damage that has been done would be to double the size of the judiciary. And this would reduce the workload because many of these judges are overworked on top of being young and inexperienced. And this would require an act of Congress, but the act of Congress can also ensure that these appointments are made based on qualifications as opposed to what the individual believes. Now, that won't do everything, though. Judges, as I said, are currently appointed for life, and we need to change that because this allows people to render decisions based on their ideologies unchecked. There is no system in place that prevents people from doing these kinds of things, and you can't force a justice into retirement. Impeachment is the only remedy. So you establish a term limit for something such as 15 years, and then after the 15-year point, the justices would go into senior status where they can still be used to fill an unexpected vacancy, or if there's an overworked section of the court system, you would be able to basically slide one of the senior justices over there in order to alleviate the problem. But senior status is already well established. It takes place throughout the district court system, and it's constitutionally acceptable, and it was established by Congress already. And this would apply to all Article 3 judges. This removes the political gamesmanship. There would be no concern for it because every single year after the 15 years goes by in the initial term, the same opening or the same number of openings would be in place every year. And so this allows for a set number each year. The transition becomes smoother because justices can plan for when their term ends. And again, this would require just an act of Congress. And as far as the highest court in the land, the Supreme Court of the United States, it is a common misconception that the 9 Supreme Court justices are set by law. And it's just not true. There's only been 9 justices since 1869. It originally established, the Supreme Court had 6 justices, as established by the Judiciary Act of 1789. And it went from 6 to 7 in 1866, and then it went up to 9 in 1869. The average term now, according to Mr. Calabrese, in his Harvard Law Review article, since 1970 is 26.1 years, is how long the term is. And this encourages people to render decisions because there is no system in place to hold them accountable. It's not as when an elected representative makes a mistake, there's no way to hold them accountable for when they use their ideology to make decisions as opposed to the law. And so we should increase the number of justices from 9 to 13, because there are currently 13 districts. The Judiciary Act of 1789, there were 2 Supreme Court justices per district. There were only 3 districts at the time. We have 13 districts. We should have 1 Supreme Court justice per district. That 1 justice would be in charge of that 1 district. And in addition to this, in the most recent Supreme Court term, there were more 5-4 decisions rendered than at any other point in United States history, and every single one of these 5-4 decisions was along ideological lines. We have to enact changes to save the Supreme Court from itself. So what would this act that I've described look like? So the Judiciary Act of 2021 would increase the size of the federal judiciary from 870 to 1,750 justices. This would speed up the litigation process. We have certain issues that take between 6 to 36 months to get through the courts. We would establish 15-year term limits. This would allow for reasonable decision-making, reasonable justices, and we wouldn't have people appointed for their viewpoint as opposed to their experience and their ability. We would increase the size of the Supreme Court from 9 justices to 13 justices to shift the balance away from the ideological fixture that it currently has and more towards the center. Impartiality is the most important thing. And I encourage you to contact Congress and tell them that an independent judiciary is important to you and me, so we can save the system from itself. Thank you.